Hi, I'm Carrie, a stroke survivor and a member of the Brain Injury Network.
And I'm Brittany. I'm a TBI survivor, and I'm a member of the Brain Injury Network. Today, Claire from Empower House is joining us. Empower House is the only brain injury network, only brain injury clubhouse in Iowa. It was formed when 4 rehab professionals saw a need for the services in their area. So, welcome, Claire.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right. So how did you get involved in the brain injury community?
My background is actually in speech therapy. So when I was out on internship before I even finished school, I worked in a brain injury group rehab program in an outpatient clinic, and I just loved it. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved the other staff I was with, and it really gave me a sense of the direction I wanted to go with my professional career. Especially working with adults was really redeeming to me versus working with kids. Like, adults wanted to get better, they wanted to engage, I could have a conversation with them, and so to really be able to level with people, that's where my career started. And then through that I met my friends, my co-founders at Empower House.
Well, that's cool. And I'm laughing because we tease around here, a lot of speech, it's either kids or it's brain injury. And we tease, we're like, well, after a brain injury, we basically are kids again. So you're still teaching kids. We're just big grown up kids.
A lot of our Empower House members say the same thing.
I mean, we that's what we tease. We're like, we're the kids, staff are the adults, even though some of us members are older than most of the staff, but it is what it is. So tell us a little bit how Empower House got started, because it sounds a lot kind of like our beginnings.
Yeah, I do. I think we have similar histories as an organization. I agree. So, like I said, my background speech therapy, and there are 4 of us co-founders. 2 of us are speech therapists and 2 of us are occupational therapists. So we all work together in the outpatient setting and just saw a need for more support for the people that we served in a medical setting. So many people were coming back to therapy, talking to us about how they hadn't returned to work or weren't engaged in the ways they wanted to, felt they were regressing because they were sitting at home, was what we heard most often. And so one of my co-founders started looking into what resources we could find in our area. There just really wasn't much in the community. So she happened upon the Clubhouse model, actually specifically happened upon Side by Side in Georgia. Saw their YouTube videos and just started kind of planting seeds, like talking about the Clubhouse model and have you heard about this? And so finally in 2018 we sat down as a group and we're like, okay, how do we make this happen? We know that there's a need. People are asking us for more services repetitively. We started putting out surveys about what are the needs that you have, how can we help with that, what services would you like in the community. And so 2018, we officially formed as an organization and got our nonprofit status. And then 2019, we spent looking for locations, meeting with members, developing programming, fundraising, and opened our doors in February of 2020. So this year we get to celebrate our 5th anniversary as an organization.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 5 years already. Wow.
That's exciting.
So, what does a day look like at Empower Clubhouse? Because I know here we have a work order day, so how does your day look like?
Yep, we similarly have a work order day, but we are a little bit different in our units. So we have a business unit, a kitchen unit, and a maintenance unit. Our kitchen, we're open Tuesday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our kitchen unit cooks lunch Tuesday through Thursday. So we're also planning meals, prepping meals, ordering groceries online, kind of everything that goes around working in a kitchen. Our business unit is kind of a combination of several of your guys' units. So our business unit does a lot of clerical tasks, typing, creating our how-tos, answering phones, giving tours, doing weekly newsletters, doing donor communications, helping plan events, helping hire staff. And then our maintenance unit does the basic maintenance of our space. So similarly, we start our day with a morning meeting, and we kind of go from there with whatever units people sign up to work in, then we break up the work accordingly. We do also have a lot of what we call wellness services or support services. So we actually have a weekly movement group with a local physical therapy clinic. They'll come in and lead us through some 30-minute exercises. We have speech therapy students who come. We have occupational therapy students who come, run different groups. We have a aphasia group. We have support groups. So in addition to that work order day, we kind of expand from there so we can meet a lot of people's needs.
Right. And so I noticed also on your website that it said y'all have social events. So what kind of social events, not the speech therapy or occupational, not the wellness, the PT, or, instead of other than those, what kind of social events do y'all have?
Yeah, the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So once a month we have social nights in the evening, a Thursday evening every month. And sometimes we go out into the community, sometimes we stay at Empower House. We want to make it accessible to a lot of people, so some people are more comfortable being at Empower House, and some people want to be getting out into the community again. So we've done all kinds of things. We've done picnics in a park, we've gone bowling, we've done movie nights at the Clubhouse, we've done family dinners or potlucks. The one in a couple weeks actually coming up for us is where one of our members' wives is an artist, and so she's leading us in a paint party.
Oh, that's fun.
So we try to have a lot of different fun things that people and their families can engage in.
That's so cool. So my question, this is a jealousy question. Social events is where we, for lack of a better word, tend to fail at. Maybe we've talked about doing them here at the Clubhouse. We haven't really gotten there. We schedule outside social events sometimes, but then getting attendance, like people say they're going to go, but then we just don't get the attendance. I know a lot of our problem is transportation, but how have you encouraged and how are you getting those members to actually engage in those outside of the work order day social events?
Yeah, I would say we have similar struggles. Like some people don't have transportation in the evening, especially if they rely on a transportation service. They don't have a ride in the evening, or family has conflicts or whatever. It's hard to get out at night, all kinds of different reasons. So our attendance at our social events is definitely lower than our work order day. Having said that, when we center them around families, like especially when we've done family dinners or something, people really kind of get behind that, like, okay, I can bring something to share, or I get to bring my spouse or my dad or my daughter or whoever, and people really, really enjoy the kind of relaxed time that everybody gets together as a community then. So I would say, one, the way we get people there is a lot of communication and reminders, and two, having a wide variety of options for people to participate in throughout the year.
Okay.
Nice. So another thing, so you said families and ages, so for member requirements, so what are the member requirements? Because is there like an age limit for your thing? Because I know for our Clubhouse, we start at 18, so how does that work?
Us too. All of our members, the only requirements to membership are members have to be 18 or older, have to have a diagnosis of some form of acquired brain injury, and can't be an active harm to themselves or others. We also do require that people are able to medicate or toilet independently. If they need assistance with some of those self-care tasks, then they can come with a caregiver or assistant too.
Yeah, that's very similar. Sounds exactly like ours, which is probably makes sense since we're also following the same Clubhouse model.
Yeah, I'd say we're meeting our standards.
Yeah. Yeah, PJ is kind of our most unique member. Y'all met her earlier. Because, I mean, when she started, I think she was just 19 when she started. So she was just on that cusp. But, her brain injury happened in utero, which is still amazing to me. She's doing so well. We did have someone called the other day. They were like, do y'all take 12-year-olds? Staff was like, no. Call us back in a couple of years. But, yeah. That all sounds the same. I kind of lost it. So I know we've talked about, we try to do a lot of partnerships in our community with, like we do a lot with the library, and we do what we call a quarterly give back. We find other nonprofits that we can go and do things with. Like we've got, and I can't ever say the name, but they've got a a store, a food pantry. So we try to volunteer quarterly, places like that where we can go stock in their food pantry or help them restock the store, sort clothes and things that we can do. And I noticed again, like I said on your website, I did a little stalking beforehand.
You came prepared.
Let's rephrase that. I didn't stalk. I did my due diligence.
Yep, your homework.
Yeah. And saw that y'all have some other community partners. So
We do. We're really lucky to have a very collaborative community. As you all know, I'm here with my friend and colleague, Angie. She is from another local nonprofit called Hand in Hand. We were also here with our friend and colleague, Nicole, who runs Family Resources, which is another nonprofit. So the reason we're in Texas is to work on a collaborative campus kind of shared space model for several agencies in our area. But in addition to that collaboration, I mentioned our movement group weekly. So Rock Valley is a physical therapy clinic that comes on site once a week with us. Aphasia group is run by a speech therapist from our local health system, Mercy One Genesis. We collaborate with a Drums Alive program. So Senior Star is a senior live-in facility, but they do community programming as well. We are starting in this new year, already here, but we're starting some volunteer programming as well. So specifically once a month, what we're going to start doing is volunteering with another local agency and helping sort their kind of community closet. So yeah, we try as much as possible to really make sure our name is in the community and also that our members are engaging with other community members in the ways they want to. We have a monthly music group with another organization called Common Chord. They come just upstairs, they're just downstairs from us, and run a music group. So we try to find ways to be involved with our fellow community members.
Mm-hmm. So you say upstairs and downstairs. So are y'all like in like a same building, or how is your building like structured?
Yeah, so we are currently on the third floor of a 4-story building. So right when you walk in the door, there are elevators, and so you just take the elevators to the third floor, which keeps that accessible for us and our members, which is really lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So off topic from that, so now I know how your complex looks like, but what benefits do you see that ABI survivor gets from going to the clubhouse?
So we did some outcomes with our members this past summer, and there are a few kind of number one things that were hit. One of the number one things that people talked about was they have better self-esteem after coming to the clubhouse. Also touched on feeling like they have better communication skills, better friendships, closer relationships, feel like they have developed new skills or regained old skills. So I would say that those are kind of the biggest things we hear with people. Also, some of our members talk about improved mobility, improved social interactions. But we like to talk about a lot of things kind of on a continuum. So not only what do our members get from coming to Empower House, but what do they give by coming to Empower House? And one of the really special ways in which we see that is our relationship with students. So our members light up when we have students in the building. You guys probably do too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's fun to have somebody new. It's fun to learn, but it's also fun to teach. It's really an important skill set in anyone's life to feel like you have something to provide, to have something to give back. And so our student relationship is really integral to that, feeling like our members feeling like they can be productive, they have something to teach, they have something to give. It's really important.
That's cool. So about how many members do y'all have?
Our average daily attendance is about 10 to 15. Throughout the year, that number is about 50 to 60. So most people are 10 to 15 who come. Most people come at least multiple times a week or multiple times a month.
Okay, that was going to be my next question because we have people that come just one day a week, up to people that come every day a week, up to, like me, up 2 days a week. I did my every day for 5 years, and now I'm like, no. I don't need to be there every day. They don't need me anymore. But do y'all do, I mean, I know you got our tour, and so like one of the things that I know our members really enjoy that we like to do is part of our outreach group is we go out to rehab facilities and talk to new survivors to give them hope and encouragement and just let them know life isn't over after brain injury. And then, we do a little shameless plug at the end about Bind so that when they graduate from recovery, they have somewhere to go, because we all know that recovery doesn't end just because insurance has decided that you no longer get to go to therapy.
Right, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's great. I'm going to take a quick little break and just remind our listeners while you're listening to go ahead and click that like button, that share button, and if you're on YouTube, that notify button. So, I'm going to go back. So now, sometimes I can keep my train of thought, sometimes not.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Brain injury survivors. So, keeping our train of thought is a challenge, but we take it on every day. Mm-hmm. But for brain injury survivors, so for your clubhouse, what's the future like for Empower Clubhouse?
Yeah, really good question. Kind of a loaded question. Because I guess we can't ever foresee the future, right? But we've been really proud of the growth that we've experienced in the last 5 years. And so we really only expect that to keep moving in that direction. But especially knowing, as we've been a small, newer organization, one of the things we're really hearing is our name is finally out in the community. And so our goal always from the get-go has been to be the hub of brain injury resources in our area. Knowing that we're the only brain injury clubhouse in the state of Iowa, we're often getting calls for referrals from across the state. And they're like, okay, well, what's in my area? I'm like, I'm so sorry. So we want to continue to expand our partnerships to make sure that we know what is available for people. We work really closely with the Brain Injury Alliance of Iowa, and they're a wonderful partner because they do some virtual case management, and so we can help connect people. But we want to ensure that we're reaching as many survivors in our area as possible. Right now we serve 6 counties. We would like to see that continue to expand. And it's funny that you bring up kind of speaking at rehab facilities, because that's something staff has done in the past. But because of lack of transportation or scheduling or whatever, our membership hasn't really been involved in that. And every January we talk about goals as a clubhouse. So what do we want to accomplish as an organization? And that's something that our members were talking about this year. Just last week we were talking about how do we reach out to rehab facilities, make sure people are comfortable coming down to the clubhouse, because we know that rehab professionals are good about talking about us. Like our staff background is rehab professionals.
Sure.
So we have connections. We know they're talking about us. And we also know that once people finally come to the clubhouse, survivors come to the clubhouse, they say, I don't know what took me so long, but I was so scared to get there. So we really want to ensure that people, our name encourages comfort and a place that people know that they can belong, so that we can continue to meet the needs of everybody in our area.
Yeah, it's hard. I know we struggled with that a lot in the beginning, staff didn't drive members. We have since we've grown and gotten new members on the board that have more insurance knowledge and things like that, we realize it's not as much of a liability as we thought. So staff, we now have one staff member. Used to just whoever could get there would go. We would carpool if we could. But now we have staff that goes so that we can go that way. But I love that y'all are going out and speaking. But what we like to say is no one gets a brain injured like another brain injured. Like the rehab professionals, we love y'all. Y'all saved our lives. You got us where we need to be. You understand and you can empathize, but you don't get it.
No, it's a different perspective. It's
Yeah.
really different.
So, that's, and that is part of our brand promise is hope, community, purpose. We want to make sure that new survivors, and that's part of our podcast too, and not just to members, but to the general population, because brain injury awareness is lacking in so many ways, just to the general public to understand that just because someone's had a brain injury, it's not like 60 years ago where we just shoved you in the nursing home or the mental facility and said, they've had a brain injury, they're done. They're cooked. Just let's not talk about them anymore.
Well, and I was just talking about that this morning. A brain injury can happen to anyone at any time, which is a scary thought, but also means we need to be paying more attention to it, because I don't know about you guys, but our membership ranges in age from 21 to mid-90s. So we're serving people almost throughout the lifespan, for adult lifespan, and most people are working age and don't want to sit at home, didn't plan to have a stroke at 55, and now have ways to engage in the ways that they used to, So it's absolutely something. The awareness needs to come a long way.
Yeah. And it's one. I mean, and we're growing a lot here in our community. I mean, I was 38 when I had my stroke. I was ready. I was on corporate ladder. I was working my way up. Bam.
Yeah. I was 25 when I was in my car accident. I was actually going to school to be a respiratory therapist. And so that kind of derailed my life. But, you know, I don't have to say derailed my life anymore. I just have to reimagine my future. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that reframing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like we're going down a lot of the same paths. We would love to collaborate however we could going forward. I know like I said, we're, looking at moving out around in different places in Texas. But if there's something that we could do to work with y'all, like maybe a support group that we could set up, I'm sure, there's tons of things. And just like I said, we can do virtual meetings. So if you have great ideas that we could have in our podcast and someone that maybe is in Iowa, great. Send them our way and let us know.
Absolutely. That'd be so much fun. I know that all of us as Clubhouses get to connect at least annually with a BICA conference, but that would be so much fun to set up more virtual meetings more regularly. I think it'd be great.
Of course,
maybe even virtual social events. Maybe you can actually tap into that.
I know I give all these great ideas, but I'm not the executive director. Even though I pretend like I am, that I'm the boss. I'm not the boss, but
we know
just don't tell the other members that I'm not the boss, because I have them fooled. But yeah,
she is the boss.
I'm bossy. I don't know if I'm the boss, but yeah. So what is one piece of advice that you would like to give to new brain injury survivors, maybe caregivers, maybe just our listeners in general? Just something that.
To new survivors, I would say it sounds cliche, but you're not alone. That's the number one thing we hear from people is, I had no idea there was a community. I had no idea other people were going through this. And so people tend to feel really isolated, sink into depression, not be taking care of themselves in the ways that they should be or could be. And so find people, even if it's a Facebook support group or listening to this podcast or whatever it is, just find ways in which you can connect with others who have been in similar situations to you. I'm sure you guys can attest, that is literally what the Clubhouse is based on, is community.
Right.
It's the core of everything we do. The work is wonderful, and this podcast is incredible, but at the root of all of it is a community of people. So finding that community you can rely on is huge.
Yeah, definitely. Because caregivers, so I was going to ask one more question.
Yeah.
So we have caregivers and we have a caregiver support group. Do you have anything support group for caregivers?
We had a student who ran a wonderful, caregiver outings. So they would be timed with our social nights so that members could come to social nights and caregivers could have caregiver coffee or do whatever they wanted in that time. It was wonderful. Unfortunately, we haven't had the group to keep up with that right now. So it is definitely a request that we get regularly and is on our minds to address in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's hard too sometimes because they're pretty busy. But Claire, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning in as always. And we will have we will have information to Empower House, their Facebook and their Instagram in our show notes. And we'll link to them. So if you're in the Iowa, not Ohio, as I have been doing that in the Iowa. Tell me where else, your county. I mean, do y'all go past Iowa? You said you've got 6 counties.
Yeah, so where we are is in the Quad Cities, specifically in Davenport. And the Quad Cities is a bi-state area with Iowa and Illinois, so we're right on the Illinois border.
Okay.
Mississippi River.
So you have members from both Iowa and Illinois. So if you're anywhere around there and you can get to them, I would again encourage you to look up Empower House, and again we will have their information in our show notes as well.
So if you'd like to contact Bind, you can contact us at the bindwaves at thebind.org, or follow us on Instagram at bindwaves, or visit thebind.org/bindwaves.
And again, don't forget to click that like button, that share button, that notify button, just all the buttons that are thumbs up and look good. Just click all the buttons.
Yeah, you can also find all our episodes on all platforms. So don't forget, all platforms.
So until next time.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to Bind Waves and continue to support Bind and our nonprofit mission.
We support brain injury survivors as they reconnect into the life, the community, and their workplace.
And we couldn't do that without great listeners like you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Continue watching. Until next time.
Until next time.